Yeah. 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 That's how we warm up here at That's Good Sports. Welcome to the That's Good Broncos prediction episode. I am Brandon Perna, and today I'm breaking down the matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos. As always, I give the better position group some sort of point, and at the end of the episode, tally the points to determine a winner. Now, we know a little bit more about all the teams in the NFL after a week of play, but really, we still know very, very little. Now, let's see how these horses match up against these baby horses. That's Good Broncos. The Broncos are lucky the Colts are playing in Denver this weekend, as Denver needs all the help they can get against a team that has beaten them 8 out of the last 9 times. This may be the highest scoring game for the Broncos all season, as Andrew Luck threw 4 touchdowns last week against the Lions, and the Colts defense looked atrocious. The Broncos get a half point here for home field advantage, which, yes, I forgot last week. Thanks for reminding me. And because they had extra time to rest with their Thursday night season opener. Gary Kubiak versus Chuck Pasquey Pagano. There was a lot of speculation towards the end of last season that Chuck Pagano was on the hot seat and that he would be let go after a disappointing season for the Colts. Turns out that was BS, as Pagano signed a 4-year deal, which was well-deserved, as coaching a team without a defense and their star quarterback is not an easy job for any head coach, especially when your general manager, Ryan Grigson, makes terrible personnel decisions. Pagano is a good head coach, but right now Gary Kubiak has the hot hand that somehow iced the ugly foot of Graham Gano at the end of the game last week. Kubiak was also able to coach his team to a Week 1 win with the quarterback making his first start in the NFL. Kubiak gets a half-point advantage as a coach. Running backs versus running backs. According to Pro Football Focus, the running backs for both teams, C.J. Anderson and Frank Gore, suck. Gore received a poor 48.5 rating, and C.J. Anderson received a poor 54.8 rating for their Week 1 performances. Apparently, PFF didn't notice Anderson's 2 touchdowns and 139 yards of total offense, which was roughly half of the Broncos' offensive yardage. Frank Gore is better than his rating as well, but at age 33, there are questions as to how effective he can be for an entire season. Behind Gore is Robert Turbin, who is a similar runner to Frank Gore, meaning there's not a huge change of pace between those two guys, and I expect Gore to be the workhorse throughout the game. C.J. Anderson played really well against Carolina, according to my own eyeballs. Andy Janovich was impressive as a blocking fullback, in addition to his long touchdown run. Now, we will see whether Bibbs or Booker gets more carries against Indy, but regardless, I give the Broncos a half-point advantage. Broncos offensive line versus Colts front 7. For the entire 2015 season, this was a point which would go in favor for the defense. But I'm excited to say that may no longer be the case for the Broncos offensive line, who showed improvement Week 1 against a tough Carolina defense. According to Pro Football Focus, Matt Paradis is 0.4 points away from being graded as an elite center. Max Garcia is the lowest graded lineman with a 48.3, as he continues to struggle in pass protection, and we saw that on Thursday. Russell Okung made some nice blocks, including this pancaking of Coney Ely, and Michael Schofield looked much more comfortable at right guard. Darian Weems and Ty Sambrailo returned to the practice field, which will provide much needed depth to this line. I like the Broncos' chances against a Colts front 7 that is unimpressive. The most dangerous player on that D-line is 11th-year veteran Trent Cole. In their nickel defense, the Colts have 38 years of experience playing on that D-line. In their base, they have the opposite issue with nose tackle David Perry in his 2nd season and Zach Kerr in his 3rd. We all know Robert Mathis is a seasoned and talented pass rusher, but he'll be facing Russell Okung at left tackle. And Mathis, in his 11th season, may be past his pass rushing prime. Linebackers C.O. Moore and DeQuell Jackson are average at best, so C.O. DeQuell later, guys. Again, DeQuell may be past his prime on the downside of his career. I'm going to give the Broncos offensive line a cautionary, very cautionary, 0.25 advantage. Even though they should dominate this matchup, it's only week 2 and we have a lot to learn about this unit. But this is a great test for the Broncos' front row giants. They need to dominate this matchup to prove they can help this offense become a consistent threat week to week. Real quick, if you're a fan of sports betting and want to win money on this game, check out mybookie.lv. Right now, if you use the promo code BSNVideo, they will match you dollar for dollar up to $1,000. mybookie.lv. Go now if you think you know who will win this game and you want to turn your money into more money. This was an advertisement paid for by mybookie.lv. Broncos receivers and tight ends versus Colts secondary. Last week, I predicted that the Broncos receivers would have a field day with the Panthers rookie cornerbacks. But honestly, they played average. Emmanuel Sanders had 49 receiving yards, DT 48, CJ Anderson was third with 47, 49, 48, and 47 yards respectively. 3 red zone turnovers really limited the wideouts' production, and Luke Kuechly kept Virgil Green contained. If the Broncos' passing game isn't on fire emoji, so stupid. This weekend, we should be a bit concerned. The Indy secondary has been devastated by injuries. In fact, they had 10 defensive players listed on their injury report, including safety Clayton Geathers, who didn't practice as he was at the hospital seeing his child be born. I think it's very nice the Colts put him on the injury report, being very sensitive to the fact that his girlfriend's vagina will no longer be the same after giving birth, an injury that will affect both of them. Their star cornerback, Vontae Davis, is dealing with an ankle injury. Cornerback Patrick Robinson suffered a concussion against Detroit, and he probably won't play. Safety TJ Green, no relation to Broncos safety TJ Ward, has a minor MCL sprain. Safety Clayton Geathers, in addition to becoming a dad, has a foot injury. And corner Darius Butler returned to practice Wednesday after healing from an ankle injury. I have no idea which of these guys will actually play, but we know Mike Adams will play, and he's been pretty good at safety since leaving the Broncos. Demaryius Thomas is dealing with some sort of weird hip injury. Don't be surprised if Thomas doesn't play Sunday, as reports indicate his hip has been an issue all week at practice. Half point here for the Broncos as we still wait for this passing game to take flight. Colts offensive line versus Broncos front seven. The Colts, for all of their defensive issues, have a pretty good offensive line. Not great, but solid. Their best player is left tackle Anthony Costanzo, which will be interesting to watch as he has the task of blocking DeMarcus Ware and Shane Ray. Ware looked fast last week, much like he did at the beginning of last season. Indy's insiders, Jack Mehort, Ryan Kelly, and Denzel Good played well in week 1. Center Ryan Kelly is a rookie, so I expect Sylvester Williams and Darius Kilgo to do a better job at getting inside pressure this weekend. Denzel Good is a second-year player, and his name also serves the purpose of reviewing every Denzel Washington movie ever. How was training day? Denzel Good. How was flight? Denzel Good. How was Man on Fire? Denzel Good. The Broncos front seven got off to a slow start on Thursday. We really didn't see them get the pressure we became so accustomed to last year until the second half. I expect that to change this week. It has to change if they don't want Luck to have just one of those days where we go, Luck, why'd you throw so many touchdowns? Remember the Titans? Denzel Good. The battle to watch is Von Miller against right tackle Joe Reitz, who is the weak link on the line and is dealing with the foot injury himself. And if he can't go, Miller will square off against LaRaven Clark, or as his teams call him, That's So Raven, the rookie. The real thing That's So Raven is Von Miller has yet to sack Andrew Luck ever. I would bet $100,000 of Von Miller's money that changes on Sunday. Todd Davis played great on Thursday, leading the team in tackles. And I'm hoping to see Derek Wolfe make more of an impact at left defensive end, but he's been limited in practice with a crick in his neck. However, I'm cautious here because Luck has had success against this defense, and he can extend plays just as well as anyone in the league. I'm giving the Broncos front seven a 0.25 advantage as we wait for them to put together a full dominant performance. Colts receivers versus Broncos secondary. The equalizer? Denzel good. Darian Stewart was a madman against Carolina. He was all over the field making brain-smashing hits and putting the fear of God in the Panthers offense. He'll need to be just as good on Sunday. The Colts, because of their QB, have a lot of passing weapons. The Broncos linebackers / safeties will have their work cut out for them with tight ends Dwayne Allen and Jack Doyle, who caught 3 of 4 Andrew Luck touchdown passes against Detroit. Second-year receiver Phillip Dorsett appears to be a legitimate deep threat, and you have to deal with veteran T.Y. Hilton and the count of Donte Moncrief. That's a lot of playmakers to cover even for the Broncos secondary, who had their own issues in the first half against Kelvin Benjamin. Luckily for Denver, none of Indy's receivers are built like Benjamin at 6'5". Instead, they'll be dealing with speed. The Broncos get a 0.25 advantage here. John Q. Denzel good. Special teams versus special teams. No, I'm not going to make you wait. The Colts have the advantage here. Full point. They have the best punter in the league in Pat McAfee, and arguably the best kicker of all time in Adam Vinatieri, who booted a 50-yarder last week. McManus didn't even get a chance to sniff the gooch because of turnovers, and Riley Dixon was average. The difference here may be in the punt return game, as I don't see many kicks getting returned in Denver. Trevor Siemian versus Andrew Luck. I thought Trevor Siemian performed well in his regular season debut. He had 2 picks on the day, but let's be honest, only one of those was his fault. Outside of those 2 plays, he was poised, even under pressure, and the guy can throw the ball into some tight windows. My biggest criticism of Siemian is the same you'd have for any young quarterback. He has to learn to make his reads and get through his progressions a bit more quickly. There were a few big plays left on the field as Siemian failed to see some open targets while throwing to his first option. That will change with time, and if Trevor is as smart as they say he is, that may be sooner than you think. Hopefully very soon. I'm talking this weekend against the Colts. Andrew Luck led his team to a near victory after the Colts were down 21-3 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Luck orchestrated a touchdown drive within those 2 minutes to go into halftime only down 21-10. He led another drive in the final moments of the game to give the Colts a 35-34 lead with 37 seconds remaining in the game, only to lose after Matthew Stafford led an incredible drive that set up a 43-yard Matt Prater game-winning field goal with 8 seconds left because the Colts defense sucks. Luck has dominated the Broncos, and he proved yet again, no matter the circumstances, he can fucking ball. I'm giving him a 1.5 advantage because this team had no business even being in that game against the Lions last week. The real question is the Colts offense and Andrew Luck a legitimate threat week in and week out, or is the Lions defense just as terrible as the Colts? We're gonna find out Sunday. Here comes the big tally. Colts 2.5, Broncos 2.75, so a slight advantage goes to Denver. I think the Broncos will win this game, and I'm giving a ton of credit to Andrew Luck. Their defense is so banged up that this shouldn't even be a question as to who will win, but Luck is good enough to carry his team to a victory, especially with the pressure of starting the season 0-2 on the line. The Denver defense, if it wants to be what it was last year, must prove that it can dominate an elite quarterback with all of his weapons healthy. Broncos win this one 30-27. That's my prediction. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Broncos. Make sure you subscribe here. Give me a follow on Twitter at Brandon Perna. And don't forget, if you want to bet on sports, go to mybookie.lv. Sign up with the promo code BSNVideo. And they will match you dollar for dollar up to $1,000. And all of your local sports at bsndenver.com. And thanks, as always, to the Mile High Report for giving me the love I so desperately need.